So here is a sweet little doll that I found at a yard sale this past weekend. I saw her poking up out of a box and I just knew that I had to have her. She was only $4. And when I heard that price, I was like, yes, please. But I'm gonna try to clean her up, get her a little bit restored and looking a little bit nicer here. So she does have wooden legs and arms. I'm gonna try to undress her to see what we're working with here, see if I can wash her clothes a little bit. Her face rotates like so. I don't see any hairline fractures or any chips in her face, although I am gonna shine a light in there and just make sure. Her teeth are still attached, and we do have her original glass eyes. They have fallen into her head, so I'm gonna take those out and see if I can reset them. And then her hair here is a little bit matted, so I'll see what I can do with her hair as well, and just kind of give her a little spa day and bring her back to life. Let me turn her over so we can get a look at her on the back. So she is an Armand Marseille doll made in Germany. She's a 390, that is the mold number. And I believe the 10.5 here corresponds to the size of her head. So as you can see, I can get into her head and do what I need to do. Her pate is still attached to her wig. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with this wig, but we'll see. It's all tangled up onto the clothing. But yeah, got a little sneak peek here at her body. So she's like a composition wood material. Got some string attachments here. So anyway, this is my first real antique doll restoration project. So I just thought I would take a video and record the process and see what can be done to make this girly a little bit more presentable and hopefully give her another 100+ years of life. Okay, so I was able to get this girly undressed. For the most part, I still have to take her little stockings off, which are nailed to her body. As you can see, she is a composition body doll with the bisque head. So her head, I'm gonna clean with some baby wipes and just wipe it down really good. Because her body is composition, you don't want to get that wet. I do have some kitchen wax that I'm going to try to apply just to, give this a little more life. But overall, probably won't do too much with this. Her strings are a little bit loose, but to be honest, that was kind of nice because it made it easier to take her clothes off. And it'll probably also help when I'm trying to put them back on. So I don't think I'm going to try to mess with the strings. I've also never restrung a doll before, so I don't even know if I could do it successfully, but the strings do seem to be intact. They are just loose. And same thing with her legs. But that's her body, and then here's the rest of her clothes. So she had a little pair of bloomers, and then her dress, which is sewn together and it's one piece, and then a little slip skirt. This was attached to her body with a couple of thumbtacks here and then on the side as well. Here's her wig. Again, I don't know how much we can do with that. And then this is what was inside of her head. We had some broken plaster pieces, and then here are her beautiful glass eyes. So I do believe she was a sleeper based on this, but I think I am just going to set her eyes in place when I put them back. But that's what those look like. So her clothes, as you can see, are in rough shape. They have a lot of tears. They're very fragile. They're very thin. I'm going to attempt to just very, very, very gently soak these in some lukewarm, soapy water for just a very short amount of time, just to get out any surface level dirt and grime. But I am going to give these a very light, gentle vacuum before I do that. But yeah, this is what we're working with. I'm excited to get this girly all cleaned up and put her eyes back in place. So all right, so just a quick update. I actually don't think I'm going to take these off. They are nailed in here really, really tight, and I worry that if I try to pull these nails out, I could damage this composition and also tear these tights or stockings or whatever they are. So I just don't think that's worth it. Probably just gonna leave these as they are. So these are staying on. All right, so this is my first time using this kitchen wax on a doll like this. I read online that this is safe for composition and wood antique dolls. So I think it did a really good job cleaning up her arms and taking off the grime and kind of making them shiny. I did notice on her body though that it was taking off some of this, I guess this is painted. I think it was taking off some of this white outer layer. These already looked like this. So I don't know if it did anything. I do think, you know, this might be a good way to kind of rehydrate some of these old composition bodies to prevent, you know, more cracking and stuff like this in the future. But I don't really know. I used such a tiny amount, and I really tried not to overdo it, but I think for the most part, I'm just going to leave her body as is. I was able to clean her face pretty well, so look how pretty she is. She had some glue residue right here around her eyes that I was able to take off with some nail polish remover and a Q-tip. But yeah, I think that's about all I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and set her eyes and give this girl her eyes back. So what I've done is I've positioned the eyes in place and then sealed the opening with wax to kind of keep them there and also keep the plaster from dripping. And then I've mixed my plaster here. You want it to be about the consistency of yogurt. And then I'm just going to use this little spatula thing to kind of drip it around the sides and the edges of the eyes until it sets. So I'm gonna put my phone down for that. Haven't figured out a way to record this successfully, but hopefully this works. Also, by the way, the head came out of the body and was just held in place by this singular piece of metal. So hopefully it won't be too hard to insert her back in, but at least this way I can get a better angle and positioning on the eyes. Okay, I have applied the plaster inside the head to hold the eyes in place. So this should set in about 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm just gonna let this dry. This setup is intense. But yeah, hopefully it looks good, and her eyes aren't crooked or anything like that. So to be determined. In case you guys are curious and wanted to see what the inside of this looks like, it's basically just a hollow body, and then you can see the 2 strings. And I am wondering, now that I have access to this opening, if I should do something about this string because it's clearly fraying. But I think this head, this metal thing, basically just hooks into maybe that bottom string there. I'm not quite sure. Okay, I ended up actually just wrapping some electrical tape around that string right there just to kind of reinforce it a little bit. It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it's better than nothing. So that was my solution. I'm gonna look at the head now and reattach it, and we'll see how she looks. Okay, I definitely had to do some finagling to get that hook back wrapped around this string, but I got it done. I was doing some weird gymnastics with crochet hooks, and it was not fun. Do not recommend, but we're all reattached. Unfortunately, her eyes are crooked. Not a great eye setting job on my part, but you know what? It's better than it was. So here she is with eyes all cleaned up. I'm gonna put her wig on and get her redressed. Speaking of the wig, I tried to do something with it. I sprayed it with this glass cleaner, which I read is supposed to be great for these wigs. Honestly, the smell of this makes me nauseous, so I was not a fan, but I also just feel like there's really not much that can be done with this wig. There's barely any hair left on it, and as I was trying to detangle some of these knots, it was just falling out in my hands. There's just glue residue all over it, and I don't know. So I might just have to get her another wig at some point, but for now, I think we're just gonna make do with what we got. So let me get her all dressed up and see how she looks. Okay, just real quick, I just wanted to show, so I put the bloomers on first and then this little slip skirt over, which I think originally they might have been flipped, but the bloomers have a lot of holes, so I figured this way they'd be more protected. And then I wrapped the whole thing nice and snug and used those same 2 thumbtacks to kind of thumbtack it all in place on the back of her body. So not 100% how it was when I undressed her, but same idea. So that's what she looks like underneath her dress, which I'm about to put on. Here she is in all her glory. Again, not perfect on the eyes. The wig is still wigging, but I'm sure she feels a lot better. This is the cleanest she has been in probably a long time. And honestly, for $4, I am super happy with her, and I'm super glad that I was able to bring her home and have some fun with cleaning her up and get her looking nice and fresh. So I hope to do more of these videos in the future. I have a lot more dolls. Well, not a lot, but I have a good amount of dolls that I have acquired recently that I think need some TLC. So if anyone is interested, I'll probably be doing some more of these cleanup, rescue, restoration type videos. And hopefully I can get better and learn along the way and learn from anyone who is watching this. Feel free to leave tips and tricks in the comments, and maybe I taught you something as well. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.